with the first verse. The word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause thee to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he wrought a work on the wheels. And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter. So he made it again another vessel that seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in my hand, O house of Israel. You may be seated. The path of least resistance. The path of least resistance. Many of us live our lives with the theory, let me take the path of least resistance. Let me find a path in my life that I have no challenge, that I have no area that I have to press and push through. Just give me the easiest path there is. And it may sound wise, or it may sound like the good thing to do. Follow the path of least resistance. Everybody in life, no matter what they believe, no matter what their last name is, will go through trials. We'll go through challenges. We'll go through hard times, whatever you want to define them as. Bad times, times of trouble, times of distress, as I refer to them, storms. What you call it, that's up to you. I've learned through my life, though, to avoid to calling the challenges, the storms, the trials, to call them bad times. It's easy to call them bad times. It's something that can come natural to us. Just, I'm going through some bad times. But the reason I avoid using that term, because I see that when we look at a challenge, we look at a trial, we look at a hard time as a bad time, that there's this place of judgment towards it. And when there's this place of judgment towards challenges and trials, then we begin to question, where did this come from? What did I do to inherit this trial? Now, let me say this. We need to separate when we sabotage our life and trials. Those aren't the same thing. And I'll give you a quick illustration. When you get your paycheck and you go blow it on a bunch of things that you don't need and spend it on things that you can do without, and then you don't have any money left to pay your bills, that's not a trial. That's not a trial. And that's not the devil. I know many people would like to say it was the devil. The devil made me go spend all this money on clothes. No, it's sabotaging ourselves. We do that to ourselves. That's not a trial. That's not a storm. That's not a challenge. That's just immaturity. That's just being immature. As Apostle Paul says, when I was a child, I spake as a child and I acted as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Many of us just need to mature and have discipline and know how to handle things. But don't call it a trial or a storm or a challenge. That's not what I'm referring to. When I'm talking about challenges and storms and resistance, things that come to our life that we don't have so much control over. Many things come to our life we don't have any control over. We have control of our reaction to it, but we don't have control over that we had this come upon us. But when we see these things as bad times, it's bad times. And we look at it a certain way. And then begin to wonder, is God mad at me? Did I do something to cause God to be mad at me and He's getting me now? And all these thoughts are going through our heads that they're not edifying, they're not healthy, and they're not going to get us anywhere. But when we look at trials with the wrong set of eyes, and then we have judgment towards them, we'll have this reaction to try and run from them, to try and run from the trials, to try and run from the challenges, to try and run from the resistance. All of us are dealt certain things in our life, and right now you may be going through something, but you have a choice to grow, to be mature, to have wisdom and press through it, or to try and run from it. Let me run from this. But what are you going to run to, and what are you going to run from? And what is running going to get you? Because running away from that trial doesn't get you through the trial. What it does is it just delays it and lets it grow a little more. My thinking is that you have to go towards it. You have to face it. Because turning your back on it isn't going to get rid of it. In fact, you're better off facing forward towards the trial than turning your back on the trial and running from the trial and running from the challenge. And then, because when you begin to run, it becomes part of your habit. People can walk through these doors and say, man, I really enjoyed service. I enjoyed that. That was refreshing. That I enjoyed that. It just, I just feel lighter and I feel better. And then come and say to another service, yeah, that was good. But all of a sudden you walk in and a word comes that kind of just hits you right in between the eyes. And some people will say, you know, I needed that. I needed it. But then other people that tend to run from things will say, that's not what I wanted to hear. And then the running shoes come on again. And they run here and they run there. And instead of looking to hear what they need to hear, they look for something that they want to hear. Many times in counsel, many times in a word that comes to you, it's not what you're going to want to hear. But hopefully, it's what you need to hear. It's what your life needs. It's what your life is calling for, to take you to where you need to go. And where might that be? To that place of the vessel that God wants to make you. Because what's going to make you that vessel in the potter's hand on the wheel? What's going to make you? What's going to form you? What's going to mold you? Just having good times, is that going to mold you? Just having good times, just taking the path of least resistance, is that going to make you? Is that going to mold you to never go through a challenge, to never go through a storm, to always take the path of least resistance? Is that going to mold and make you and form you the vessel you need to be?